This video is being recorded on Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. Hello everyone, this is Nicholas Acosta and welcome back to CSCBVIP, also known as Computer Science for Blind and Visually Impaired People. And in this video, I wanted to talk about the release of iOS 13.1 and iPadOS 13.1. So, this update came out yesterday on the 24th, and I installed it on my iPhone XS Max. And before updating, I had 17.23 gigabytes available. And then after updating to 13.1, I had 17.62 gigabytes, so it cleared some cache and it gave me more storage, so that was great. My first impressions of iOS 13.1, well, I noticed a few voiceover changes, speed improvements, of course. A lot of the voiceover problems that were introduced in iOS 13 have been fixed in iOS 13.1. A few features came back as well that didn't make it into the final release. Also, if you are running, if you have an iPhone 11 Pro or an 11 Pro Max, new in AirDrop, and these are only for the new devices, but these new iPhones have the U1 chip. Sorry about that. It's a tongue twister. It has the U1 chip installed, and so basically, it's the ultra wideband chip. So basically, for AirDrop users, you can just point your device. Of course, the people have to have an iPhone 11, but you would point your device at someone else's phone, and then you can share files that way just by pointing it at a individual's phone who, of course, like I said, they have to have an iPhone 11 and they have to be running the latest version of iOS, which is iOS 13. That's what comes with the new iPhones. So this AirDrop feature is pretty cool, you know, and all you gotta do is just point your device at someone else's, and there you go. You can AirDrop photos or documents or anything, files to anyone's phone, anyone you want. So it has that, fixes to mail, it adds some new features, some new automation features to the Shortcuts app, and it fixes a bunch of bugs. Now, like I said, there are still some bugs with voiceover that need to get ironed out. I know after updating to 13.1, I noticed that when I was on the home screen, for some reason, when I touched the top of the screen, I couldn't see the time for some reason. The actual bar at the top of the screen isn't there for some reason, so that must be a bug that needs to be fixed. Now, getting back to iOS, actually getting back to iPadOS, because now that's basically all that I've noticed in 13.1. But just a bunch of performance improvements. We still have some updates to go though before Apple can iron out these bugs. But I didn't get to really play around with iPadOS. I was able to install it on my iPad Pro that I got, my 9.7 inch that I got in 2016. Now, like I said, iPadOS can run on the iPad Mini 4 and later, the iPad Air 2 and later, and the newer iPads like the 2016 9.7 inch iPad Pro, all iPad Pro models, and of course the 2017 iPads and later can run iPadOS 13.1. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't call it iPadOS 13.0. I'm glad that when 13.1 came out for the iPhones and for iPod Touch and for the iPod Touch, I'm happy that they just stuck with iPadOS 13.1 for the iPads. Now, all I did was install it. On the model of the iPad that I have, which is the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, it was 1.81 gigabytes, and it took me less than an hour to install. And I was able to install it, and I didn't really get to play around with it, but I will say that it's pretty cool that you can now connect external hard drives and SD card readers and you know, a mouse to your iPad. That's pretty cool. I know that some of the apps got redesigned, like Safari, where you can now view a desktop website in desktop mode. Just updates to the music app. Same updates in the App Store. We now have an arcade tab. And then if you want to check for updates, we no longer have an updates tab, as you know, for iOS 13.1. Well, actually in iOS 13 in general, 13.0, there's no updates tab. So whenever you want to look for updates, you have to hit the My Account button, double tap that with VoiceOver, and then you'll be able to keep flicking right, and you'll be able to see that there's an update all button, or you can still update your apps individually. Another feature that I like is that you can now, you don't need Wi-Fi. You no longer need Wi-Fi to update apps that are over 200 megabytes in size. New in iOS 13, you can either download over Wi-Fi if you have a data plan, if you don't have unlimited data and you have a limited data plan. But in my case, I have unlimited data. So if you have unlimited data, you don't have to worry about using Wi-Fi. You can just download, you know, if there are any updates to iMovie or, you know, Pages, Numbers, Keynote, GarageBand. Those apps are very large apps. So you can now do any large app over cellular data, which is pretty cool. So, with that being said, now the only thing that we're waiting for is Mac OS Catalina 10.15, and that should be released very soon. I will be updating this channel when Mac OS 10.15 is gonna come out, or maybe close to when it's gonna be released, but it should be released fairly soon. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.